The Silent Vanguard. The grand convocation hall of the Axion Empire gleamed with impossible geometry, its crystalline architecture designed specifically to make lesser species feel small. Commander Elena Reyes stood ramrod straight in the center of the chamber, refusing to be intimidated as representatives from 47 galactic civilizations stared down at her from their elevated platforms. Earth's petition for full membership in the Galactic Concordat lay rejected on the transparent display before her, the seventh denial in as many years. High Chancellor Vox Malar, the Emperor's most trusted advisor, leaned forward from his ornate throne. His mercury-colored eyes betrayed amusement as his four-fingered hand casually dismissed the petition with a flick. Commander Reyes, your species' persistence would be admirable if it weren't so quaint, he said, his translator converting his clicking language into smooth standard English. Earth has barely mastered rudimentary interplanetary travel. Your most advanced vessels still rely on fusion propulsion, and you've only established colonies on 3 bodies within your own system. The Concordat admits civilizations of significance, not technological infants. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The Palaxian representative, a being of living crystal, actually chimed with delight. Only the Arcosian delegate, whose species had been the most recent addition to the Concordat 2 centuries prior, showed something resembling sympathy. Elena maintained her diplomatic posture, her dark eyes revealing nothing. 15 years of military training had prepared her for this moment. The people of Earth appreciate the Concordat's consideration, she replied evenly. We look forward to continued cultural exchange while we develop further. Vox Malar's lipless mouth stretched into what passed for a smile. Yes, cultural exchange. We do find your species' art and music charming. Perhaps in another century you might evolve enough to join our enlightened community. As Elena departed the chamber, her aide, Lieutenant Marcus Chen, fell into step beside her. They maintained perfect silence until they reached their diplomatic shuttle. Only after the doors sealed and their security protocols activated did Elena finally allow herself a genuine reaction. Smug bastards, she muttered, removing her formal diplomatic sash. Any updates from command? Marcus handed her a quantum-encrypted datapad. Director Okafor says we're ahead of schedule. Phantom protocol is at 92% readiness. Elena nodded, reviewing the data. And the Axion still suspect nothing? Their surveillance remains focused on our decoy fleet. They're monitoring all 12 of our advanced cruisers. A small smile crossed Marcus's face. They even have tracking beacons on the Jupiter shipyards. Good. Elena's expression hardened. Because I saw how they looked at us in there. It wasn't just contempt, it was anticipation. The Axion are planning something. The truth was, humanity's first contact with the galactic community 30 years ago had been simultaneously the best and worst thing to happen to Earth. The revelation that faster-than-light travel was possible had sparked tremendous innovation, but also revealed humanity's technological inferiority. While other species had been traversing the stars for millennia, Earth had barely reached its own moon. The Axion Empire, the dominant power in this sector of the galaxy, had treated Earth's first interstellar explorers like curious pets. They'd provided outdated star charts, limited trade agreements, and restrictive technological guidelines, all while extracting Earth's rare minerals and biological resources at laughable rates. What the Axion and the rest of the Concordat didn't know was that their condescension had lit a fire under humanity, unlike anything in its history. Nations that had been enemies for centuries united under a singular purpose. The public-facing Space Force continued developing along expected technological lines, slow, predictable progress that confirmed the aliens' prejudices. But beneath this facade, Earth's greatest minds had been working on something revolutionary. They're accelerating their timetable, Elena said, studying the intelligence reports. Their resource extraction ships have increased operations by 40% in the past month. And these troop movements, she pointed to a series of coordinates near the edge of Axion space. Marcus frowned. That's too many ships for a standard patrol. It's an invasion fleet, Marcus. They're preparing to formally integrate Earth. Elena used the Empire's favorite euphemism for subjugation. We need to move. Up our timeline. The ship's communication system chimed with an incoming priority message. Director Nadia Okafor's hologram appeared above the console, her expression grave. Commander, our deep cover assets in the Imperial Court have confirmed our suspicions. The Emperor himself is mobilizing toward Earth with a fleet of over 300 vessels. They're classifying it as a ceremonial visit, but the fleet composition is primarily military. Elena's jaw tightened. Time frame? 2 weeks. They're moving faster than we anticipated. The Emperor plans to offer Earth protected status within the Empire, an offer we won't be permitted to refuse. Then we execute shadow reveal ahead of schedule, Elena replied without hesitation. Is Admiral Zhang ready? Director Okafor nodded. The Phantom Fleet stands at your command, Elena. The President has authorized full deployment. After the transmission ended, Elena gazed out the viewport at the glittering megastructures of the Axion homeworld. For decades, humanity had played the part of the technological underdog, the cosmic newcomer still finding its footing among the stars. Behind this carefully constructed image, Earth had been preparing for this very moment. The Phantom Protocol had begun as a desperate gambit after Earth's scientists made a breakthrough that the arrogant Axion had overlooked. While the Empire had mastered conventional faster-than-light travel using enormous energy expenditures, humanity had discovered that quantum entanglement could create micro-wormholes requiring minimal power. These same principles allowed Earth's ships to manipulate the fabric of space-time around them, essentially bending light and rendering them invisible to standard detection methods. For 15 years, Earth had been building a stealth fleet unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Ships that could traverse vast distances without conventional drives, vessels that could appear and disappear at will, a military force positioned throughout Axion territory, invisible to their supposedly infallible sensor networks. The journey back to Earth was tense. Elena spent most of it reviewing tactical simulations and contingency plans. As their shuttle approached the Sol system, they maintained their outdated propulsion signatures, appearing to all observers as the same primitive vessel that had departed weeks earlier. Earth came into view, a blue-green jewel orbited by what appeared to be 12 modestly armed cruisers, humanity's entire defense fleet according to Axion intelligence. Elena smiled at the deception. Those cruisers were elaborate decoys, designed specifically to be monitored and tracked by foreign powers. Their shuttle landed at the United Earth Defense Headquarters in New Geneva. The facility appeared to be a standard military command center, with technology only marginally more advanced than what humanity had possessed when first contact occurred. But 300 meters below this facade lay the true heart of Earth's defense, the Phantom Command. Elena and Marcus descended via a gravity tube to the hidden facility. Admiral Kira Zhang, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, waited for them in the central command chamber. Massive holographic displays showed the positions of ships throughout the galaxy, both visible and invisible. "Welcome back, Commander," Admiral Zhang said, her weathered face showing concern. "I take it they rejected our petition again?" "As expected," Elena replied. "And now we know why. They've been planning to absorb us all along." Zhang nodded grimly. "The Emperor's fleet has already entered the Arcturus system. At their current speed, they'll reach Earth in 10 days. Then we have 10 days to prepare humanity for the truth," Elena said. "The public still believes we're technological underdogs." "The President is addressing the United Nations in 6 hours," Zhang explained. "After 30 years of secrecy, it's time for the world to know what we've accomplished." Elena studied the holographic display showing hundreds of stealth vessels, positioned strategically throughout Axion space, near their military bases, their shipyards, their seat of government. For 15 years, Earth had been deploying its invisible fleet, positioning them like chess pieces for this inevitable confrontation. "And the quantum shield?" Elena asked. "Fully operational," Zhang replied with pride. "Once activated, no Axion weapon can touch Earth or our colonies." The ground trembled slightly as massive generators deep beneath the planet's surface powered up, testing the systems that would soon protect humanity from the Empire's weapons. Elsewhere around the solar system, similar installations on Mars, Venus and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn prepared for activation. In the room's center, a hologram displayed the approaching Imperial Armada. At its heart was the Emperor's personal flagship, a vessel larger than Earth's tallest mountain. It was meant to inspire awe and fear. Instead, Elena felt only determination. "They think they're coming to claim a primitive world," she said, softly. "Instead, they'll finally meet humanity as equals." Admiral Zhang's eyes reflected the light of the holographic display. "No, Commander. Not as equals." A rare smile crossed her face. "After tomorrow, they'll understand that they've been technologically surpassed. The question is whether their pride can handle the revelation." As Elena studied the tactical display, a message flashed across her neural implant. Technology the Axion believed was centuries beyond humanity's reach. It was from deep cover asset Cassiopeia, their highest-placed spy in the Imperial Court. "Emperor. Has accelerated timeline. Arrival in 72 hours. Weapons hot. They're coming to make an example of Earth." Elena looked up, meeting Zhang's eyes. "It seems we're out of time, Admiral. The Emperor will be here in 3 days, not 10. Then, Operation Shadow Reveal begins now," Zhang replied without hesitation. "May history remember this as the day humanity stepped out of the shadows." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. On Earth, 30 years of secrecy were about to end. And in the darkness between the stars, hundreds of stealth vessels awaited the signal to reveal humanity's greatest deception. The galaxy would never be the same. Checkmate among the stars. The Emperor's arrival was designed to overwhelm. His flagship, the Eternal Dominion, emerged from hyperspace flanked by 300 warships arranged in the traditional Axion conquest formation. Each vessel gleamed with the metallic blue of processed neutronium, their weapons ports already open in a display of casual threat. The formation spread across Earth's sky like an artificial constellation, visible even in daylight. From observation decks across the planet, humans looked up not with fear, but with anticipation. After decades of pretending to be technological infants, the moment of revelation had arrived. In the Imperial flagship's command center, Emperor Draxvor studied the holographic display of Earth with mild disappointment. His 8-foot frame towered over his officers as he gestured dismissively at the image. "This is the world that has rejected our generous offers 7 times?" he asked, his voice resonating through his ceremonial armor. "I see 12 primitive cruisers, rudimentary orbital platforms, and not a single planetary defense system." He turned to High Chancellor Vox Malar. "Are they truly this defenseless, or are they hiding something?" Vox Malar bowed deeply. "Our intelligence is thorough, Eternal Emperor. Earth's technological development has progressed exactly as predicted since first contact. Their most advanced vessels still use fusion drives, and their weapons are limited to conventional missiles and low-yield energy weapons." "Then they are either brave or foolish," the Emperor mused. "Prepare the ceremonial transmission. Let us see if they understand their situation before we demonstrate our power." On Earth, the United Defense Council gathered in the Real Command Center beneath New Geneva. President Sophia Chen stood beside Admiral Zhang and Commander Reyes, watching the Imperial Armada's approach on the tactical display. 317 vessels, Zhang reported. "Exactly as our intelligence predicted. And our assets are in position?" the President asked. Elena nodded. "Yes, Madam President. 412 Phantom-class vessels are deployed throughout their formation. Another 1,000 are positioned at key Imperial locations across Axion space." "And they suspect nothing?" Admiral Zhang allowed herself a small smile. "Their sensors show exactly what we want them to see. A defenseless planet with outdated technology." The communications officer interrupted. "Madam President, the Emperor is hailing Earth on all frequencies." President Chen straightened her uniform. "Put him through on the public channel. It's time humanity dropped the act." The massive display shifted to show Emperor Draxvor in his full ceremonial regalia. His mercury eyes reflected the light of 1,000 stars, his expression one of benevolent condescension. "People of Earth," he began, his voice translated into all Earth languages simultaneously. "I am Emperor Draxvor, eternal sovereign of the Axian Empire, protector of the Seven Systems and guardian of the ancient ways. I come before you with an offering of unprecedented generosity." The Emperor paused for effect, clearly expecting Earth's leaders to be overwhelmed by his presence. "For 30 years we have watched your civilization struggle to join the galactic community. Your persistence is admirable, but the time for petitions has ended. Today I extend the Empire's protection to Earth and all her colonies. Your world will become the newest protectorate of the Axian Empire, with all the benefits such status provides." President Chen's face remained impassive as she replied, "Emperor Draxvor, Earth appreciates your offer. However, we must respectfully decline. Earth and her colonies will remain independent." Confusion flickered across the Emperor's alien features before settling into amusement. "Perhaps I was unclear, President Chen. This is not a negotiation. The Axian Empire has decided that Earth requires our guidance. Your acceptance is optional. Your compliance is not." As if on cue, the Imperial fleet shifted formation, surrounding Earth in a display of overwhelming force. "You have one planetary rotation to formally submit," the Emperor continued. "After that, we will be forced to demonstrate the consequences of defiance. I assure you, such demonstrations are quite memorable." President Chen exchanged glances with Admiral Zhang, who nodded almost imperceptibly. "Emperor Draxvor," Chen replied, her voice calm and measured. "Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding about Earth's capabilities. Allow us to clarify." She nodded to Admiral Zhang, who pressed her palm against the command console. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations that had lain dormant for years activated simultaneously. On the Imperial flagship, alarms suddenly blared as the ship's sensors detected a massive energy surge from Earth. "Impossible," Vox Malar whispered as the readings climbed beyond anything their intelligence had indicated Earth was capable of. Earth began to shimmer as an iridescent field surrounded the planet, expanding outward to encompass the Moon and the 12 visible Earth cruisers. The quantum shield, technology the Axian believed was theoretically impossible, snapped into place, creating an impenetrable barrier around humanity's homeworld. But that was merely the beginning. "What's happening?" demanded the Emperor, as new alerts sounded throughout his vessel. His sensor officer's voice trembled. "Majesty, we're detecting ships. Hundreds of them. They're everywhere." Throughout the Imperial formation, Earth vessels suddenly appeared, having deactivated their light-bending technology. Sleek black ships with minimal profiles materialized within the Emperor's formation, some mere kilometers from his flagship. Admiral Zhang's voice replaced President Chen's in the transmission. "Emperor Draxvor, I am Admiral Kira Zhang of the United Earth Defense Force. Allow me to introduce you to humanity's Phantom Fleet." The holographic display in the Emperor's command center updated to show the true tactical situation. Over 400 Earth vessels had appeared within his formation, each with weapons locked on Imperial targets. The Emperor's overwhelming force now found itself completely infiltrated and tactically compromised. "This is deception," Voxmalar sputtered. "These vessels cannot be real." "I assure you they are," Admiral Zhang replied. "For 15 years, while you monitored our decoy fleet and laughed at our primitive technology, Earth has been building and deploying stealth vessels throughout your territory." Another signal came through. This one from Elena Reyes now, revealed to be aboard one of the stealth vessels positioned near the Axion homeworld. "Emperor, perhaps you should check the status of your core worlds," Elena suggested. New alerts flashed across the Imperial tactical displays as stealth ships deactivated their cloaking technology near every major Axion military installation, shipyard, and population center. The Emperor watched in stunned silence as over 1,000 Earth vessels appeared throughout his empire. Vessels that had been completely undetectable to Axion technology. "How?" the Emperor finally managed, his Imperial composure cracking. "Our sensor networks are infallible." Quantum physics doesn't follow the evolutionary path you expected, Admiral Zhang explained. While the Empire mastered conventional faster-than-light travel using brute force energy methods, humanity discovered that quantum entanglement could create micro-wormholes requiring minimal power. These same principles allow our ships to manipulate the fabric of space-time around them. President Chen returned to the transmission. Emperor Draxfor, let me be clear. Earth does not want war. We never have. For 30 years we've endured your condescension, trade restrictions, and resource exploitation while we prepared for this moment. You threaten the eternal empire? The Emperor growled, his mercury eyes flashing. Not threatening, Chen corrected. Informing. There's a difference. We have had weapons locked on Imperial targets for years without firing. That should tell you our intentions. The Imperial Command Center fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth could have struck at any time, but chose diplomacy instead. After a long moment, a different voice entered the conversation. The Arcosian delegate, who had shown sympathy to Earth in the convocation hall, appeared beside the Emperor. Perhaps, Eternal Emperor, we have misjudged our human neighbors, the crystalline being suggested. Their restraint speaks volumes about their character. The Emperor's gaze remained fixed on President Chen. What are your demands? We have none, Chen replied simply. Earth withdraws its petition for membership in the Concordat. We don't need permission to exist as equals in this galaxy. Instead, we're offering something more valuable: partnership. Human ingenuity combined with Imperial resources could advance both our civilizations. The proposal hung in the air as centuries of Imperial arrogance warred with the sudden realization that humans had outmaneuvered them completely. The Emperor's personal advisor whispered urgently in his ear, presenting strategic options that no longer existed. Finally, Draxfor raised his hand for silence. The Empire has always valued innovation, he said carefully. Perhaps we have been hasty in our assessment of Earth's potential. Admiral Zhang stepped forward. The stealth fleet will remain deployed until formal agreements are signed. Earth will join the galactic community as equals, not supplicants. And if we refuse, the Emperor challenged, though the question lacked conviction. Then nothing happens, President Chen answered. Our ships remain in position. Your empire continues to function, but you will do so knowing that at any moment, any of your worlds could be within range of weapons you cannot detect. Is that the legacy you wish for your eternal empire, Emperor Draxfor? Perpetual uncertainty? Within hours, the Galactic Concordat convened an emergency session. Representatives from 47 civilizations watched in stunned silence as Earth presented evidence of its technological breakthrough. The quantum physics that made Earth's stealth technology possible had been overlooked by civilizations that had followed similar technological evolution paths for millennia. 3 days later, in the same grand convocation hall where Earth's petition had been rejected 7 times, a new type of agreement was signed. Not a petition for membership, but a treaty between equals. As Elena Reyes witnessed the signing ceremony, Lieutenant Marcus Chen approached her with a secure communication device. Admiral Zhang, he said, offering the device. Elena accepted it. Admiral? Zhang's voice came through clearly. Congratulations on your promotion, Admiral Reyes. The President has appointed you as Earth's first High Ambassador to the Concordat. Thank you, Admiral, Elena replied. And the Phantom Fleet? Still deployed, though we've revealed 30% of our vessels as a show of good faith. The rest will remain hidden for now. Trust takes time to build. As the newly promoted Admiral Reyes rejoined the ceremony, she observed the changed demeanor of the alien representatives. Where once there had been contempt, now there was cautious respect. Several species that had previously ignored Earth were now eagerly seeking trade agreements and cultural exchanges. High Chancellor Vox Malar approached her, his formerly imperious demeanor notably subdued. High Ambassador, he acknowledged with a formal bow. The Emperor wishes to express his personal interest in learning more about Earth's quantum physics research. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Of course, Chancellor. Earth is happy to share our knowledge. Selectively. You've changed the balance of power in the galaxy, Vox Malar observed. Many are uncomfortable with such rapid change. Change is the only constant in the universe, Elena replied. The Empire survived because it was strong. It will thrive when it learns to be adaptable. As the ceremony concluded, Elena gazed out at the glittering expanse of stars visible through the hall's transparent dome. For centuries, the Axion had believed their technological path was the only one possible. Their certainty had become their weakness, while humanity's greatest strength had been its ability to imagine alternatives. 6 months later, the first joint, human Axion research facility opened on Europa. Scientists from both civilizations worked together studying quantum mechanics and space-time manipulation. The facility's name, suggested by the Emperor himself in a gesture of reconciliation, was, painted in both English and Axion script across its entrance, Unseen Pathways. On the anniversary of the confrontation that had changed the galaxy, Admiral Rhea stood aboard Earth's newest diplomatic vessel as it prepared to depart for a goodwill tour of former Imperial worlds. Lieutenant Chen, now Captain Chen, handed her the ship's manifest. Quite the change from last year, he remarked. Instead of begging for recognition, we're being invited everywhere. Elena nodded thoughtfully. The galaxy's learning what humanity has always known, Marcus. What's that, Admiral? True strength isn't about having the biggest fleet or the most advanced technology, she said, watching as the stars stretched into streaks of light around them. It's about patience. We spent 15 years being underestimated, using their contempt as cover while we prepared. The ship accelerated to faster than light speed, riding the quantum wormholes that humanity had discovered while the rest of the galaxy looked elsewhere. They'll never make that mistake again, Elena said softly, her eyes fixed on the cosmos that now recognized humanity as equals among the stars.